Hi everyone, welcome to my channel if you're new here. Welcome back to my channel if you're a returning viewer or subscriber. Today's video is going to be a record collection update video. I haven't filmed one of these in a long while. That's just because I haven't been buying a lot of records recently. I'm not out of my vinyl phase or anything like that. I'm just not buying things as frequently because I don't have the money to be doing that. I don't have the money to be setting aside in that area of my life. So that's the reason why these videos have just been coming at a slower pace than they might have done a couple of years ago. But in my last one of these, I actually asked you guys if you wanted to see a vinyl collection update, like a full tour of all of the records I own. Everybody said yes, or everybody who answered the question said yes. That will be coming in the very near future. I will not be filming a vinyl collection update before my updated vinyl record collection, if that makes sense. But in this video I've got 5 records I want to share with you before we do the full tour. We get through every single vinyl that I own. I've got a real mix of things. I've got a 7-inch, I've got a 10-inch, and I've also got a bunch of the regular ones as well. All different vibes, different things going on here, but all ones I'm really excited about. Some wishlist items and some ones that I saw in the store and I thought that'd be fun to pick up. I'll either say which songs are my favourite off them, or I'll have them listed down below, as well as how much I paid for them, where I got them from, things like that, if I'm not saying it in the video, in case I forget along the way. But without further ado, let's just get on into the video. So Lana Del Rey released an album called Did You Know That There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard? It's her latest studio album. But a few months after the release of the album, they released some 45s with some tracks from the album on them, and the one that I decided to pick up is this one, which has Candy Necklace on the front and John Batiste interlude on the back. I love this. It's on a little picture disc. I don't really buy this to be spinning all the time, rather just listen to this song like within the album of the like full record I own. Really lovely to have because these are my 2 favourite tracks on the album. So having them collected together is just so sweet. And I also think it's lovely because Candy Necklace is Lana Del Rey featuring John Batiste, and then the back is John Batiste interlude, so it's like just him playing the piano basically. The album on the whole is quite melancholic and it's very, very personal to Lana, but the John Batiste interview is very, very underrated, and it also has so much joy. You hear her laughing, and as a Lana fan, as someone who genuinely adores her as a person, or what I see of her as a person, I really loves having like a little slice of her happiness. I got this little 7-inch. It's obviously in this rubbish plastic sleeve. I will switch this out for something else in the future. I just don't own any little sleeves, any sleeves that would fit just a 45. The pictures on the pressing is taken from Lana's music video for Candy Necklace. So it's got her kind of like Marilyn Monroe cosplay and then her sticking her tongue out on the back. It's just so fun. I love having this in my collection because they're my favourite songs, but also because I'm just a huge Lana fan, and because I think this is such a beautiful, like, even like a piece of art. I definitely need to find a place to display it that's not just in my little crate of 7 inches. And I bought that from her web store. It wasn't very expensive. I thought it definitely could have been a lot more. HMV is a big like music shop in the UK. They sell lots of like merchandise, very like nerdy stuff, but also tons of music, CDs, vinyl, lots of DVDs and things like that. And in there, they always have these big sale bins. Honestly, it's worth checking them, I would say that. While you do have to kind of rummage through a lot of stuff that you wouldn't be interested in, they do just mark down things just randomly. And one of the things that I saw in there not too long ago was One Man Band by Miles Kane. This is Miles Kane's most recent album. I wanted a copy just because I went to see him live, and this is the tour that I saw him on. But I have a little CD version of this that I mentioned, I think, in my last vinyl update. So I wasn't sure when I'd get around to getting this. But they had a colour pressing in HMV, and it was for a really reduced price. Brand new, obviously not damaged or anything like that. They just had it randomly on sale. So I decided to treat myself. So yeah, that's the front and the back. This is the sleeve, lyrics on the other side. And this is pressed on clear vinyl. And I don't actually own too many clear vinyls, so I was really excited to find this in there, and to pay, you know, barely anything for it was really cool as well. And my favourite tracks on here over the months I've been listening to, the ones that have like really stayed with me, have been One Man Band and Baggio. Very excited to finally own some Miles in my collection that's not just his work that he's been doing with the puppets. More Miles to the collection. We have this little record store day release. This is my first time participating in record store day. I went to my local record store and I picked this one up. This is Miles Kane and the Evils, like a little project that he did with some friends. But this is just a little 10-inch. It's got 4 tracks on, and they're all surf rock. So it's got like surf guitar. And Miles Kane's like, he's a great guitarist, but what he's particularly known for is his surf rock guitars. I was thrilled to have this. Think James Bond, you know, things of like another era. A lot of his songs like feature that style of guitar playing, which is one of my favourites. And he's just like an absolute legend at it. So I was really excited to get this. I really wanted to buy it so I could kind of read along to it. and it's pressed onto really fun transparent forest green colour. Rubbish paper sleeve, but you know, this is such an ambient record to listen to. I'm really glad I managed to pick it up on the day. I am slightly disappointed because these 4 tracks were vinyl exclusives and then they've since been released on streaming services, which I kind of hate. It's not the first time that's happened, and it will never be like the original record store day ones that will be released if they ever decide to release this, because that would also be heartbreaking. But yeah, I love all of these tracks. I'd say I think my favourites are the first side A, I'm pretty sure. Okay, moving on to the couple of vinyl that I received for my birthday. First of all, I got the final Strokes record that I needed to add to my collection, and that is Angles. I decided to pick this up because it was really discounted again in my local record store. Not only was it a Strokes record that I didn't own already, but it was one that was from their like re-released new pressings. So they basically, like I said, re-released a bunch of the Strokes, or all of the Strokes albums, and in doing so pressed them on really cool coloured vinyl, which they'd never done before. That's the front and the back. And then this is a gatefold. Super cool pictures in here in the band. Very cool pressing. This beautiful, like rich lavender purple colour. I'm really happy to own this. Actually, out of all of the colours that they released, all of the coloured pressings for the new records, this one I felt like went the best with the album. I have someone close to me who's actually rebuying the Strokes records in the coloured pressings because she wants to own all the special pressings, but I actually don't mind just having this one because the purple is the exact same colour as this shade of purple on the cover, and with such a colourful looking album, I feel like it's really perfect to have a coloured pressing with it. My favourite song from Angles is Games, but I also love Life is Simple in the Moonlight, Undercover of Darkness. So many good ones on here. Really excited to finally have completed my Strokes collection. And then my last gift for my birthday was this masterpiece. Absolutely the most iconic thing I own. I did a story on Instagram. I was like, I fear I may have peaked. I don't think I'm ever going to slate this hard again. This was just like crazy. Speaking of repressings, they repressed the Twilight soundtrack. I know. They did a limited pressing of the Twilight soundtrack on vinyl back when the film came out years and years ago in the like late noughties. Since then, the film has kind of grown in popularity. It's become this like cornerstone within pop culture. The record price for resales has just skyrocketed, and you can find it on Discogs between £500 and £900, which is just insane. It's been on my wish list for years and years and years, but obviously my best chance of getting it would be like stumbling across it in some vintage like flea market and the person selling it like not having any idea of that it's worth. The chances of that happening are so slim. When they decided to repress it, I was like 100% yes, am I getting this new pressing of it. 12 iconic songs on the back, ranging from Muse to Paramore to Robert Pattinson himself. On top of it being like a repressing, it's also pressed on a really pretty colour vinyl, and it's called Mercury. Honestly, the most unreal colour, and so perfect for this soundtrack because the colour of the record actually perfectly matches the perfectly matches the colour of the text of the title. Isn't this just like too good? I really think this might be the best thing I own. In terms of how I got this, it was a journey and a half. I originally tried to purchase this on HMV because HMV were the only place stocking it in the UK. HMV wanted $37, I think it was. Retail was $39.99. Told my mum about it, but I told her I wanted it for my birthday, but I was like totally chill if she couldn't get it because I knew that was a lot of money. She very kindly was like, okay, I'll get it for you, because she knew that it was like selling out quickly. And we went on HMV's website after me just having checked whether it was available and it having been in stock, and it was out of stock. You could sign up to get told when like they'd restocked, but I was like, if they've sold out on pre-orders, the chances of them restocking I feel like is quite slim. So I was really sad about that. While I was actually having this like crisis about it, a little independent record store in Leeds was selling the record as well, and they were actually selling it for I think $35, so a little bit cheaper than HMV. Okay, perfect. Not only am I paying less, so I'm also supporting like a little indie record store, and they have the record in stock. So I pre-ordered it on there. That all went fine, really smooth, really lovely. Like I'm sure they would package it really well as well. My birthday turns up. It doesn't arrive in time for my birthday, which is a bit unusual because my birthday was the 16th and its release date was the 12th. And I was like, a bit strange that like, you know, it hasn't even shipped yet. And then I went on their website and it said that they were experiencing low stock from the manufacturer. And I was like, okay, what are the chances that they've told us that there's like a certain amount of stock and they've actually oversold the stock? Because I feel like that could be quite high. And sure enough, like 2 days later, we got an email being like, I'm really sorry, it's out of stock, we're never going to get it in. So again, was massively disappointed, and in my desperation I scoured the internet and I saw that Amazon, as of like a couple of days before, had begun stocking it. I got it on Amazon, which I know is not the perfect place to get records, but it was like a last resort. On top of that, my mum paid 27. So originally she was going to pay 37 agent fee, then she was going to pay 35 at this independent, and then she got it for 27. On behalf of my mum, like, I'm glad about the price drop. So if you want this, I would check out Amazon. I'm not sure whether they still stock it, but it's worth having a look. And also at local places, because I'm sure that there's a couple of people who are still like holding on to some copies to sell. I particularly wanted to own this record because it's an iconic soundtrack, and the film is just such a monumental moment within my teenage years. It was like my early teenage years, and it was just so, like, it changed my life, you know. It was like a really like big bonding thing with my friends and everything like that. But on top of that, I really love reading to the Twilight soundtrack. If those films did anything right, it was the atmosphere and the soundtrack. The soundtrack of the vinyl being able to represent the entire film for me. When I'm listening to it, I can be picturing that. Perfect for reading ambience. So there you have it, 5 vinyl to add to my collection. I'm so excited about all of these. If you told me when I was back buying this one that I would be getting this one, wouldn't believe it. Like I said, I'm so excited to have some Mars in my collection. So excited to have this really precious little pressing of some of my favourite Lana songs. The Strokes one is always great because I love Strokes, one of my favourite bands in the world. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, so let me know you did. Subscribe if you'd like to stick around and see my updated vinyl record collection. I do have an original one I filmed a couple of years ago, so it's like majorly out of date, but I'll still have it linked in the cards and also down below. I also have my vinyl collection updates linked down below. And yeah, without further ado, I'll leave you in peace and I'll see you not next week, in a couple of days for another video. Bye bye.